it's Jackie Bolhuis from Klompen Stampers. Are you ready to get lots of stamping tips? How to save on your paper? How to make a watercolor wash on the background of your cards like you see all over the catalog? And see about probably at least 20 samples using the Sailing Away bundle. I've gone a bit crazy with this bundle, which I tend to do when I get a new product. So I'm going to show you some samples, teach you some things, and introduce you to my July online stamping class that you can get for free in July or purchase just the tutorial. So a lot to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this camera down and let's get started. Okay, friends, I am not quite sure to where to even start. If you saw my table here, oh my goodness, I have so much to share with you and lots of tips and introduce you to the upcoming online stamping class and yeah, so much. This brand new catalog has me blown away. Probably the best Stampin' Up! Has ever put out in my 24 years of being a demonstrator. Speaking of that, if you don't have it yet and you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to send you one. Hop on over to my website and you can request one. Now, this is kind of going to be a different video because I've got lots of tips that are going to be scattered all the way through and then lots of samples. One of the tips, and this is kind of a tip and sample together, is where do you get your stamping ideas? Now, I know some of you copy me, and that's why I love doing videos, because I love to hear your stories when you copy. That's why I share. However, sometimes you want more than that. The catalog, years ago, they used to call this an idea book and catalog. I don't know how they got away from that, but it truly is an idea book, especially with some of these, what I think are going to be the most popular suites in here. And Sailing Home is one of them. It's featured here on the front. And if you start really digging through the catalog, you're going to find a ton of samples with it throughout the catalog. A lot of times that's where I start when I get a new stamp set. I like to just copy ideas that the Stampin' Up! Artists have given us. So you can see in these two projects here, I copied this one, changed it a little bit. I think this used some embossing paste. I'm not going to mess with that messy stuff. Had an embossing folder, which I didn't have yet, but I just took the layout and the colors. I did 4 or 3 of the ships in my greeting, used the designer series paper that goes with the suite, and bam, there is a quick and easy 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 size card. Now, square cards are fun, but if you make larger than a 4 1/4 square, it's going to need a special envelope, and it's also going to cost you extra postage. So I like to do the 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So this is the same size as a regular card. We can compare it here. It's just cut a little bit shorter to give it that square appearance, but this you can put in a regular envelope and no one knows the difference until they open it and go, wow, it's a square card. So that idea came from there. And then this one right here, I took off of this piece. Now we'll talk about some of the elements on here a little bit later, but I just used my layering labels. I forget what they're called. Stitch label framelits on that. But then I used the layout of the anchor and the lighthouse and the little compass back there to make a card. So that was my idea on this card. Now, like I said, the catalog is scattered with ideas. As you flip through here, you will see that this particular bundle is featured in quite a few places. One of them is right up here on page 4. I saw this card and I'm like, I love that one. I love the red. I'm kind of a red fan when it comes to lighthouses and sailboats. And so I thought, well, let's make our own little version of this one. Now that I'm looking at it, I should have added some of the birds in there too. Now let's set the catalog aside. We're going to come back because there's even more samples in there I want to share with you. But what I want to show you is how I did this watercolor wash. You'll see this on a lot of samples in the catalog. It's kind of a popular look right now. And I know some people have struggled with it. Well, you know me, it has to be simple. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. And it can't be too messy. Speaking of messy, look at my hands. You know, I say not messy, but my hands get full of ink all the time. So good thing I don't care what you guys see on the camera here. Now, watercolor wash. The best way to do it is with a piece of watercolor paper. It really will take that water the best, give you the most vibrant colors and move around because you want it to just kind of flow around on there. So I like to use my re-inkers, and what I do is I just take one of my clear blocks and I'll put a couple dots of re-inker right there on that block. And then when I'm done, I can just wipe it off. Second thing you need is an aqua painter. got this filled with water. This is the fatter one. When you buy the aqua painters, they come in a pack of 2, and one has the fatter or bigger brush and the one smaller. The bigger one I'll use for watercolor washes, where the small one I like more for the detail coloring. Now, to get this going, you're gonna just squeeze here a little bit. You'll get water flowing. You can see when I tap on my finger, I have water coming out. And what you wanna do is start out by just putting water, and I'm kind of squeezing as I go because I want a fair amount of water. And we're just smearing it across our piece of watercolor paper here. Then we're gonna pick up this ink and I'm gonna start just kind of dabbing and smearing. Work fast because you want it to flow while it's wet. If it's not moving as much as you want, squeeze a little bit more, get a little bit more water action going there. But you don't want like nice straight painted lines. You want that real flowy look. And depending on how much water you have on there, you can even sometimes pick it up and let it just drip around. If you want a little darker, add a little bit more. But this is where that watercolor paper works so good because you can put all of this water on there and it's not gonna ruin the paper. Now I gotta let this set aside and dry. But that's it. That's all it takes to do a watercolor wash. So that was one of the main things I wanted to show you. Now the other thing is a paper saving tip. So on this card, I'm going to layer with Night and Navy underneath my watercolor wash piece there. And this little Set Sail in Your Dreams label, that is out of Night and Navy also. So what I did is I stamped and I embossed. I'm not going to do that in this video. If you don't know how to heat emboss with the white powder, let me know because I have a video that shows you how to do it. But I did it right in the center of this layer. I have this all cut ready to layer already. And then I cut it out with the label that comes as part of the dies with the bundle. And then it's in the middle there. So down here in the middle where you can't see it because it's underneath the watercolor paper is a hole, so to speak. But as long as you're gonna layer it, you're not gonna see it. So there's your paper saving tip. Now, let's go ahead and set this card aside. Like I said, there you learned how to do the watercolor wash, quick and easy, how to save some paper. Now let's go back and look at a few more samples and then I have some more tips to share with you. Okay, back to the catalog. At the beginning, and I've talked about this in a different video, they do have this really neat index that shows you all the different bundles where you can save money. Well, every one of the samples that are shown on these pages is not shown further back in the catalog where that set is. That means there's another sample for you. So I haven't recreated this one yet, but there is a whole nother idea that you can make, kind of like this one. Just make a whole bunch of different sailboats and layer them up with some of the seaweed. Now, speaking of the seaweed, let's just take a peek at what I did here. With this stamp set, you can purchase it in a bundle and save 10% along with the dies. And what I've done is I've stamped all of the images of the stamp set, okay, are stamped on here along with cut out with the dies. And then the ones that are in brown, you'll notice that these pieces don't coordinate with a stamp. They're just for you to cut out. So there's that fun little seaweed that you're seeing there, a ship's wheel. The compass here you can punch out with a circle punch, but I didn't want to do that for you because I wanted to show just the dies. We got the rope and the rope piece here. These little pieces can go on that. So lots of great greetings. This one can actually be turned either way, but I love these stamps and these dies. So that's there. But now let's flip back to this page where we really see the suite, and we've got several, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more samples for you guys. So this is one of those suites that you're never going to run out of ideas using. So I want to show you these 3 cards because these are 3 of the 12 that you're going to get tutorials for as part of my online class in July. Now I debuted this month in June, and it's an online stamping class where I have 6 projects that I have a video that goes with them, and then 6 bonus projects, but you get the tutorials for all 12 of them. I make them super simple, listing the card recipes, all the supplies you need, and all the instructions. So these are 3 of those 12 projects that will be featured next month. So watch for that information on July 1st because you don't want to miss out, and you can get it free when you participate in the online class. So back to our catalog. something new in the catalog this year that I am thrilled about because it makes life so much easier for you guys. If you want all the coordinating products in the suite, we've got one item number, so you can really easily just order that. And for the online class, we're going to just use an array of all of these products. So you really want that. Okay, and then we flip it over. Better pictures this time of the designer series paper. Gorgeous paper that goes with this suite. So let's look at more samples. Like I said, I went a little bit crazy. Now, most of these cards, dimensional. Most of these cards I will feature over the coming months with the recipes and everything for you. Today's video really was about the tip for making the watercolor wash, but I thought as long as I'm at it, let's just go ahead and show you all of the samples I've made to kind of get you ready for July. Purchase this bundle in July and then you can get that free online class. So super easy to work with these framelits, a lot of just stamping and cutting out. The paper is beautiful. And here's where I used the seaweed and just a bunch of the pieces, the rope pieces and so forth. So there are those samples. And then the last thing I want to share with you, part of the suite is the Memories and More cards. Now I used those cards and I didn't even use, well, I split the cards in half and I only worked with half of them and I didn't use all of the half, if that makes sense. So I could make a whole nother set of these plus more. But there's no stamping on these cards. This is all using those Memory and More cards that are also part of the suite. And then I used the craft cards and envelopes here that are actually part of the Magnolia suite, but you can purchase just the envelopes, and I thought, or cards and envelopes, and they work absolutely perfect with these. These cards, no, I didn't put anything. Some of them I put stuff inside. All I added was the baker's twine. Super fun and easy. I will have an upcoming post probably next month in July showing all of these cards so that you can, if you want to recreate these, you easily can do it. All you need is the craft envelopes, card and envelope set along with the Memories and More cards. And that's all I used on these. It really truly doesn't get any simpler than that. So, like I said, a lot of show and tell in this one, a few tips. We had our paper saving tips. We had our watercolor wash. Now you know how to do it because you see it a lot in the catalog and I get asked it a lot. This is almost dry. It does take a while. You can speed it up a little bit with your heat tool if you want to. But that's a quick and easy watercolor wash for you. So as always, guys, oh, wait, I got one more set of cards. Oh my goodness, I didn't show you these. Hold on. I know some of those other ones seemed a little putsy. They weren't hard. Remember, I don't do anything that's hard. There was just a lot of parts and pieces. But if you want to make up some quick cards, I used the note cards and envelopes, 2 ink pads, Night of Navy and Balmy Blue, and that was it. And I stamped these. I just added a couple layers here. But that is simple stamping at its finest, and I thought these were great little note cards to pop in the mail to someone. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. So, as always, guys, if you have questions at all, let me know. I am here to help you. And remember, all of these cards are going to be featured at some point. And on July 1st, watch for all the information about the online class that you can get for free when you order from me between July 1st and 10th. So, with that, I'm going back to stamping since my hands are already all inky. We might as well keep going. So, until I stamp with you guys again, have a stamp happy day.